Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. This is the brother Yachanan from the GMS Houston camp, and just a quick lesson touching on Esau. He's the one that's in rulership right now. He has been given a great sword. He is a cunning hunter, as the precepts I'm going to touch on, but at the same time, as scary as this devil Esau Edom, the so-called white man, might seem to be, he slips up. When you take a closer look at him, he's as scary. Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he creates spirits for judgment, and this is what Esau Edom is. And he's scary because Yahweh Shem Yahushai is using him for judgment. But when you get really a close look at him, he's a bum. He's the base man, the basis of the base, the lowest of the low. It's actually comical, and it shows Yahweh Shem Yahushai's power that he can raise anybody up and have them, rule the world, which what he's done. And I'm just going to jump right into it. This is Genesis 25 and 27. And Rebecca, who was Isaac's wife, had twins in her womb, and they were fighting in the womb. The two twins, Jacob and Esau, which would be Esau and Jacob because Esau came out first. Now, these were two separate nations, and these were two different types of people, but just touching on Esau. And Genesis 25 and 27, and the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. So let's look at that word for cunning, which is H3045, Yadai. And this goes, Yadai meaning to know, to be knowledgeable. And this you see how this goes into it. It has a lot of different words. It's one word, but it has many different meanings, which shows you the Hebrew is very I'll say versatile. One word can mean a lot, to bring a lot to your mind. So this is to know, to learn how, to perceive and see, to find out and discern, to discriminate, distinguish, to know by experience, to know, be acquainted with, to know carnally. That's mean to when you see in the scriptures, like referring to a virgin, that she had not known a man, that's Yadai, meaning to know carnally, meaning that she had never had sex with anybody. Or here we go. And the next one, to know how, to be skillful, to have knowledge, and to be wise. So these are things say Esau Edom was a very skillful hunter. He was a very wise hunter, and not wise in the sense that Jacob was wise, for having the fear of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, but wise in the sense of he knows how to weaponry, knows how to craft weapons, how to use different things as weapons, how to use his speech as a weapon, how to set a snare, how to disguise his scent, how to disguise himself. How to knowledge of pheromones and things like that. That goes into being wise, and that all comes from Yahweh Shem Yahushai. He's carnally wise. So that's the background. Esau Edom is a cunning hunter. So this is Genesis 27 and 39, and this is after Jacob has supplanted Esau, the birthright from Esau again, Because when you read in 25, Esau had sold his birthright, and being that he sold his birthright, it now belongs to Jacob, which also is what's written in the prophecy in Genesis 25, that the elder shall serve the younger. So Jacob came and got his blessing, which is how Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai wrote it to be. And that's how it happened. And Esau is looking for a consolation. So, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. So the best places, the resources, the mineral resources, the oil, you're going to have the best in the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live. So your sword, this is how you're going to have all the best places in the earth, but through your sword. This is how you're going to get it. So let's look at here for sword. H2719, Harab. It says a sword, a knife, tools for cutting stone, which that's like laser weapons now. But it's weaponry. It goes into all that. Weaponry, the speech, the tongue. He has control over diseases. He has control over biology. He has control over propaganda. He has control over even the HAARP systems, climate. Different things like this. He has direct energy weapons. They're talking about this stuff now. This devil has been given. Matter of fact, let me get this. This is Revelation chapter 6 and verse 4. And there went out, Revelation chapter 6 and verse 4, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. So this is that red horse. First, horses represent power in this vision. And you have your cars, they have horsepower. Well, this is representing power. So there went out another horse that was red representing Esau, meaning that his name was Edom, which means red. And power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. So he was given power to take peace from the earth. This is Esau, Edom, his whole thing, what he's designed to do. Matter of fact, I believe I have it pulled up. Let's see here. Oh, I don't. Well, let me finish reading this and then we'll get to it. And that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. So again, this blessing going back to Esau, Edom. This is Malachi. Malachi chapter 1 and verse 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai of hosts. They shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai have indignation forever. So this is them, the border of wickedness. Let's look at that, the border. H1366 Gaba Wall says properly, no, that's fine. It says boundary, extension to territory enclosed. It says a border, a territory enclosed within a boundary, a region, the territory of darkness. So this is them. This is that darkness. But this is Esau, Edom, the border of wickedness. Wherever he goes, he is taking peace from that land. And being that matter of fact, the border of wickedness. Let's get this. Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So the earth has been given into the hands of the wicked. That's Esau, Edom. Just read it. The border of wickedness. And also in Revelation 6 and 4, he was given the power to take peace from the earth. So this is them. That their territory is the earth now. So they've taken peace all from the earth. Peace on all levels, mental peace, tranquility, the peace from the animals, the peace when you go and see, you would go, you would look at the ocean, you would go sit in the forest somewhere, sitting next to some trees. Everything is out of course with this man ruling because he has taken peace from the earth. And he covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? So let's look at that word real quick for cover, because that's H3680 kasa. And it says to cover, conceal, to hide. So he's concealed the faces of the judges. When you look at how this devil came out in the Renaissance, the rebirth, and he used iconoclasm. He whitewashed the images, the dark images. He covered up the faces of the judges. He made them look like his own image and hid the true images. The scriptures say Yahushai and his father, Yahweh, were dark skinned. Yahushai being having white woolly hair, feet of brass that had been burned in a furnace, meaning he was extra dark, and his father is described the same way. You can read it in Revelation, the 1st chapter, and also in Daniel. But hey, this is that devil. He's covering up, concealing the images, hiding and concealing the history of the Israelites. You so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Information is a weapon. The lack of information is a weapon. This devil, he's been given a great sword, so he's very knowledgeable on how to use information, everything as a weapon. Even this phone. So you saw what they did in Lebanon. What was that, last year? Either it was last year or it was 2 years ago. With the pagers blowing up. Well, guess what? Hey, your phones not only can track you, record your voices, triangulate where you are. You have a GPS signal on you. Your modems can do that. Hey, this devil has so much that he can do, but he uses it for wickedness. Let's see, back to, was I done with Genesis? Genesis chapter 27 and verse 40, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, let's look at that dominion. H7300, Rawad, says to ramble, free, disconsolate, to have the dominion, to be lord, to rule, to wander restlessly, to roam. And this is this devil. And he's roaming restlessly. It also says he never keepeth at home. Matter of fact, I'm gonna finish reading this. That thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So this is, the Israelites had the Edomites in subjection. When? During King David's rule, during King Solomon's rule, and after they rebelled. Matter of fact, let me see if it says this in the... Right, that's exactly what I just said. It says, break his yoke after the time of King David and King Solomon, during the time of Rehoboam and the split. So, they took that opportunity when the kingdom was divided after King Solomon's rule, when the kingdom was rent. They rebelled and they went they went out. They went what you see afterward. The Greeks, the Romans, and now what you see today, the revived Roman Empire. So what was I gonna get? It slipped my mind. I just had it. They said to Rome, to let me see it. Rome, to wander restlessly. Neither keepeth at home. Is it Habakkuk? Right. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 5. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine. There's different philosophies, the different things that he comes up. This is how he's transgressing. This is how he's breaking divine commandments of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. He's a proud man. It's very proud. It's so much so that they have a saying called global arrogance, and it's referring specifically to America. And it's not just all America, but specifically the Edomites, the so-called white people in America. He neither keepeth at home, so doesn't keep at home, neither keepeth at home. H5115 Nawah. Okay. So he doesn't keep at home, because his home in Basra, which is modern day Petra, that's a wasteland. There's nothing there. There's the only thing that you ever see there is some pictures of Petra, where they show that what is it called? That thing they have carved that looks exactly like the Roman architecture that you see today. Says, who enlargeth his desire as hell and as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. Does not that sound like the man, that red horse that was given the power to take peace from the earth, that was given a great sword? Because how is he doing this? Through destroying nations, through destabilizing nations, through destroying economies and peoples, so that he can heap all these people to himself, because he's greedy. He is as death. But that's all I'm gonna get from that. But continuing, and this should be the identifiers of who Esau Edom is in these days. And this isn't for non-believers. This is for the believers. This is for those that can hear this word, understand it, who Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai has opened your minds up to it. You got to consider yourself very, fortunate that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai has even led you, to the men of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, starting with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone on down, to hear this information. Because there's plenty of people every day that come across this information and don't think anything of it, that think we're crazy, that think we're lying, that think we're just talking about, just black people, they just hate white people, whatever. When this is information that will save your life. So this is Psalm 64, and I'll start at verse 1, and I might get into a couple of different versions, but Lord willing. Psalm 64 says, the subheader says, prayer for rescue from secret enemies. Now, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful header. The subheading, because here it is, Esau Edom. This whole time, if you've been here in America, if you're black, Latino, Native American, and if you, especially if you've grown up like how I've grown up, or in my generation, I'm in my late 30s. You were taught that white people ain't bad, which it's not all white people. You have Jake that's scattered amongst them. They don't look like so-called white people. You have Israelites that are scattered amongst so-called white people that are not Edomites. And the same thing vice versa. You have Edomites that are scattered amongst Israelites that look black, that look Latino, that look like they're Native Americans, but they're Edomites. So it's not the skin color thing, it's about your spirit. But you were taught that they love you, they're friendly, this or that, whatever. You should trust them. But meanwhile, they're a secret enemy. They're plotting on you. What comes to mind right now is when I was still a kid. I think I was like 10 when that man in Jasper, Texas was dragged behind a truck. And at first you thought, that was just some KKK stuff, but it turns out those were supposedly his friends that did that. So you might have some people that you close to, they all smile on your face, whatever. And they're just waiting for the moment to catch you, to slay you. And it's the same thing in these days. Esau, Edom as a whole. He's waiting for the moment that he can slay Jake. Matter of fact, I'll go back to that because I already went. I already changed it. I should have just left the tab open. Because when Esau, he never was able to slay Jacob, his brother. But it says here in Genesis 27:41, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. So he said, hey, look, I'm gonna kill Jacob. I'm gonna get him. But guess what? When you continue reading, when you finish reading, hey, that never happened. And so that hatred has carried on through the generations. But back to Psalm 64 and verse 1, hear my voice, O power, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. So preserve my life from fear of the enemy. So save me. You know, this devil's getting ready to come down. You know, like a great flood. You know, coming into your house, busting down your doors. You know, maybe even tear down the walls using his, you know, different technology, sending robot dogs, a drone, maybe even, he might even, you know, drone strike your house. Who knows? But this is how he does not have to carry the sword in vain. You know, he does not have this sword, you know, for no reason. In other words, you asking Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua to have mercy on you, to find you worthy, because hey, we're looking to be saved from this devil, because he is one of the spirits of vengeance. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, that border of wickedness. Esau, Edom, can't do right. Who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. So they whet their tongue like a sword, even their speech. They're able to convince people to go against you, that you're doing wrong. Here it is, they're destroying the whole earth, and you're wrong for calling them out on it. Here it is, they're doing all sorts of things to men, women, boys, little girls, infants, animals, all sorts of things, whether it be raping them, cannibalism, sacrificing them. You're wrong for calling it out. You're wrong. You're the one that's breaking the guidelines. You're the one that's doing hate speech. And bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Jacob, the Israelites. Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not. Because they're gonna come down. They're gonna come in like a flood. They're not gonna care. Like it says in 2nd Esdras, they're gonna come down on all those that fear Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? So this is what they're doing. They encouraging themselves. They let's look at that word for encourage. Okay, H2388, chazak, to strengthen, to harden. So they're hardening themselves in wickedness. They're doing this. Like we're gonna do this. We're gonna worship our gods. All that stuff they talking about, that stuff ain't real. We're gonna rule forever. Even though if they continue to rule, there's not going to be nothing left to save if they continue to rule. They commune of laying snares privily, they say, who shall see them? And the point here being that these snares, laying snares privily. It says H2934, Taman, says to hide, to lay privately in secret, conceal, secret laying. So they have these different things laid out in secret where you think it's for your benefit, but really there's another, like there's a back door. There's another reason for them doing this. They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them, and the heart is deep. So hey, they have accomplished a diligent search. Like it says in Daniel, the 12th chapter, it says, knowledge shall increase. You know, they have done so much. And I'll just get to it. It said, well, let me read this last verse. But the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, shall shoot at them with an arrow. Suddenly shall they be wounded. So shall they make their own tongue fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. And Yahweh Shem Yahushai is about to bring these devils down. And everybody's going to see it. Everybody's going to see the ICBMs falling on Babylon the Great. Everybody's going to see the destruction of America. They're going to be fearing coast to coast destruction. An entire continent wiped off the earth. This is, you know, I know some brothers, the brother Quarabad mentioned this at the Tuesday camp. You know, it's been kind of on my mind, but it says, you know, basically what they showed was a commercial at the Super Bowl, and they showed the Ring cameras were able to track, you know, they helped this little girl find her lost dog and all that BS. Well, that seems all good. Oh, you know, oh, you found the little dog and all that kind of stuff. You know, using the cameras, and you're able to track all the cameras that had the Ring cameras in the area and all that. But, you know, one of the things I was thinking of, like, well, hey, in Texas, whatever, they made it, matter of fact, let me see that. In Texas, they made it to where dogs have to be microchipped, or animals have to be microchipped. It says, oh, okay, I thought it was, oh, okay, my bad. So, microchipping is not mandatory statewide in Texas, but is required by local ordinances in many cities. You know, Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, for pets, usually by 4 months of age. You know, Texas law HB 604 requires shelters and rescues to scan for microchips, while HB 3777, effective 2025, imposes stricter localized penalties for repeat stray dogs. So many large urban Texas cities require pets to be microchipped. So, you know, the one, they're getting you used to the microchip. But also, you know, from what I understood was, I thought it was statewide, but it's the cities, the major cities. Which, hey, that's fine, because hey, guess what? It's going to be everywhere, but it's just preparing you for what they got planned. So Houston requires pets to be microchipped, with fines ranging from 100 to 500 for non-compliance. So hey, that's part of the devil's work. You know, here it is. Why do you need the Ring cameras if all your animals are supposed to be microchipped? What's the point of that? Because the microchip is supposed to be like when they pass through, you know, certain areas that have, you know, the RFID readers, they'll be tracked. So what do you need all these cameras and whatnot for if your animal is chipped? But that's it. This is the hypocrisy, because, you know, anyway, it says Ring cameras used to track. Ring cameras are increasingly used for or proposed for tracking purposes beyond traditional home security, including locating lost pets via AI-powered search party features, aiding law enforcement in tracking suspects and potentially identifying individuals through upcoming facial recognition technologies. These, however, raise significant privacy concerns regarding neighborhood surveillance and data sharing. Now, this also reminds me of my father. He put me on he's big into like the science fiction, but not like the movies. He was, because he grew up in the 50s and 60s, so he was reading the science fiction that was back then. That is what you're seeing today. So one of the things he was telling me about was Ray Bradbury. And I think I've mentioned in the lesson. It's lucky for rambling, but let me get that. Ray Bradbury. Is it Ray Bradbury? Right. So Ray Bradbury, the pedestrian. When I looked at, it's a very short story, and I listened to the audiobook, and it's very heavy because it's dealing with these times. That's all, because it's basically The Pedestrian by Red Bradbury. It's a short story. It says The Pedestrian is a 1951 dystopian short story by Ray Bradbury about Leonard Mead, a man who enjoys taking solitary walks at night in a future city where everyone else stays indoors, mesmerized by television. And is that not what you see today? Now, you might not necessarily, I don't watch TV, but guess what? Hey, you either hooked on the computer screen, you hooked on the playing the video games, or you hooked on the phone right here. This phone, this draws a lot of attention. This is very powerful. They have patents on how this can affect your mind, how this can control your mind. And it's like I'm getting a little excited because that's just, that's just what happens. You start talking about these things. You start talking about things that you have an interest in, you're going to get excited. But, try to, slow it down, because I notice when I get excited, like I'll start stuttering. But anyway, his harmless activity is seen as deviant because he's just taking a walk. And he is eventually arrested by an automated police car and taken to a psychiatric center for his regressive tendencies, highlighting themes of conformity, technology's dangers, and the loss of human connection. Now, in the story, I can't remember if they had cameras in front of their houses and whatnot, but basically, he was saying like the houses look like tombs and whatnot. But the point being is, when you taking a walk, you're gonna be watched. Even though everybody inside is watching their TVs and whatnot, you are constantly being watched by Esau Edom through his technology. And so, again, the key tracking applications for Ring cameras, lost pets, search party, Ring search party features allows users to post photos of their lost pets, enabling AI to scan neighboring Ring camera footage to locate them. So you scan a photo, like, oh, this is my little dog Rex. You lost. And it's gonna you're gonna scan your photo up in there. Which, what do you need all this for? Because your faces have constantly already been taken photos of. Your phone takes pictures of you constantly. When you're driving, when you're in public spaces, you're having your photos taken constantly. So, this is just being normalized. You are constantly being tracked. Esau Edom is a cunning hunter. What does a hunter do? They track their prey. So, police use Ring footage to investigate crimes and track suspects. Furthermore, partnerships with companies like Flock Safety aim to connect Ring cameras to wider citywide license plate scanning networks. And I had another tab pulled up about the Flock cameras. These things, basically, you'll see them wherever. It'll just be a pole with some cameras on it. Maybe the solar panel on them. It'll be a black camera or black pole, black camera, no labeling on it. because I see them when I drive into different towns. When I'm leaving this town I'm in and I go to another one, I'll see them on the highway. All it is scanning your license plate. And they claim, oh, it's for safety. We're tracking suspicious drivers. You know, we're looking for suspicious individuals, but they can never catch, you know, who's taking the children, who's doing all this wickedness in the earth. You know, let me move on to the next tab. It says Ring cameras. This is one I had because I seen this and I know they do it, but the AI tries to deny it. It says Ring cameras still record after subscription ends. Ring cameras still record after subscription ends, stored in servers. It says based on Ring's official policies and community support, Ring cameras do not record or store video in the cloud once subscription Ring protection plan ends or is canceled. So here's a breakdown of what happens to Ring cameras. Okay, no cloud recording. Without a plan, the device does not record or store motion, events, or doorbell rings to the cloud. Live view and alerts only. You can still receive motion alerts and engage in two-way. Existing videos deleted once a subscription lapses. Any previous stored videos on your history will be deleted, often for a short period, 24 hours to 30 days. No grandfather storage. While some older users have reported in different experiences, current policies state that recordings are not kept without an active plan. So, hey, they say this, but then, you know, a year down the line, there's all kinds of stuff that comes out after people, you're like, oh, they said it was deleted, you know, which it's lying. It says law enforcement can pull Ring data even if user doesn't have a subscription. It says law enforcement can obtain Ring camera footage even without a subscription, primarily by serving a warrant or in emergency situations, imminent danger or death or serious injury. While Ring states they only store video recordings for users with active subscriptions, they can still provide non-content data and access live or recently recorded data in emergency warrantless scenarios. So warrantless emergency, Ring admits to sharing user videos with law enforcement without consent or a warrant in urgent cases, subscription necessity, or for data storage. If there is no subscription, the camera does not typically store video in the cloud. However, this does not prevent police from obtaining data via legal process, such as subpoenas for non-content or if the user has other local temporary storage functionality. So what's that saying? That they do? They can. They need legal process required. Yeah. So in addition to video, when available, Ring can share subscriber information, purchase history, and service usage data with subpoena. So hey, they just said they don't, but here it says they do. So hey, that's dealing with the devil for you. I'm not even going to go into the flock cameras, but then this is just ways they can track you. Here's another one. It says sound card can be used. What did I say? Sound card can be used to determine location. And sound cards, when paired with multiple microphones, can determine the precise location of a sound in 3D space using techniques like time difference of arrival or triangulation. This acoustic localization works by analyzing the small time delays and amplitude differences of audio signals arriving at different calibrated microphones. So, the key details regarding this technology include mechanism. It functions similar to human ear localization, using microphone arrays to detect sound sources. Common methods include multilateralization, time of flight, and comparing to phase or amplitude to determine the source. Hardware beyond standard sound cards, it requires multiple microphones, often for full 3D localization and signal processing software. It can be used for locating users even without specialized tags, as well as in robotics. It is important to note while some systems may use specialized expensive hardware for this, it is possible. Okay. But the point being this, that your own sound card, whether it be in your computer or whatever, this can also be used to track you based on just you speaking. You know, this devil is a cunning hunter. He made a diligent search. And this is just from the what's the guy? Alex Karp, the CEO of Palantir. And this crazy dude. Which, it's really not helping me. Because normally, you see how it's giving me paragraphs after paragraph and stuff like this. This is just giving me links. So, he said this. But he wants to use drones. Or, he might have said it. He might really do this. He might not. But let's see what...
And I also think you often need a lower purpose. Like the higher purpose for me...
What's a lower purpose?
Well, I love the idea of getting a drone and having light fentanyl-laced urine spraying on analysts who tried to screw us. So that's my lower purpose. And, yeah, and others. But the higher purpose for me was to get this nation to be the preeminent power in the world, because whatever faults we have, they're nothing like anyone else's.
So, you hear the pride of this devil. You hear this devil speaking. This is what he wanted to do. He probably will do this, because they got the power in their hand. They can do whatever they want to right now. But this is the devil speaking. He wants to use drones for this purpose, for people that are, like I said, analyzers that want to screw us. I mean, who wants to downfall these people more than the prophets, more than the Israelites, more than the hopeful elect? I mean, anyway, this is the other day. I wish I could see. Let me see what it says. This is matter of fact, let me see. I might be able to click that link, but let me read it first. I put RFK Jr., who's supposed to be the Minister of Health here in Babylon the Great, which is an oxymoron, because you see this guy. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do this. This guy has so many stories. This guy has so many different stories. It's like, bro, what does this guy have to do with health? What does this guy have to do with anything? This guy should not be in any kind of leadership role, which is an example of Esau Edom. He should not be in any kind of leadership role. He's the bassist. It says RFK Jr. brainworms. This is a little backstory about your health minister. So in 2012, RFK Jr. disclosed that doctors discovered a dead parasite, a pork tapeworm larva, also showing that you shouldn't be eating pork, because they're an unclean animal. They carry all kinds of parasites, all kinds of diseases. You're not supposed to be eating that stuff. And they carry worms, parasites. A pork tapeworm larva in his brain, which he believed caused cognitive issues like memory loss and fogging around 2010. So this thing messed up his brain. Which, he was doing other stuff before that. Remember, he was driving around with a dead whale on his hood. He had something to do with a bear in Central Park. Because I'm gonna go down a whole rabbit hole looking at this dude. But it says the incident believed to be the cause of neurocysticercosis, which typically occurs from consuming tapeworm eggs, causing cysts that may lead to inflammation. So I don't remember that's the reason why his voice sounds like. It says neurocysticercosis is a severe preventable parasitic infection of the central nervous system caused by larval cysts of the pork tapeworm lodging in the brain. It is the leading cause of acquired epilepsy worldwide. Symptoms include seizures, headaches, confusion, and muscle weakness. It is transmitted by ingesting eggs from human feces, often via poor hygiene or contaminated food, not by eating undercooked pork. Hey man, that just opened up a whole nother. Anyway, and like I said in the beginning, this man seems scary, but when you learn about this base man, you know, the Isaiah, the 14th chapter, where it says, "Is this the man that made the earth to, you know, is this the man?" You know, these things come up because it's like it is the Most High is Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is amazing. This is just amazing who he can set up, what he can do, the judgments that he carries out. You know, it's just amazing, beautiful. His creation, like the water Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You know, call halal Yahweh Bashim Yahushai because you know, just what he does is just amazing. It says key details regarding the incident include medical situation in 2012, deposition. Kennedy mentioned the doctor believed that the worm entered his brain, consuming part of it, and died, causing him to experience cognitive issues. Which that's I believe that's why he has that speech like that, a real gravelly, you know. But anyway, back to where was I? I believe I was here. This is RFK Coke toilet seats that I put in there. I mean, it's going to pop up. It says in a February 2025 interview on the podcast of this past weekend with Theo Vaughn, which he's kind of funny. I think he's putting on like a Southern accent kind of thing and cut his hair into a mullet, whatever. You know, he says just some stupid stuff that just, you know, like comedians do. Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert RFK Jr. stated, "I am not scared of a germ. I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats." Now, this is your Minister of Health. You know, this is the Minister of Health. I ain't scared. I ain't scared of those germs. I used to smoke. I used to snort coke off of toilet seats. I'm looking for it because I might see if I can pull it up on Instagram. It says Kennedy made the comment while discussing his 43-year recovery from drug addiction and his decision to continue attending in-person recovery meetings during the COVID-19 pandemic. He explained that his addiction was a greater threat to his life than any virus, noting that he and a pirate group of about 15 others, when regular meetings shut down. Okay. But anyway, let me go back on this. Just so you can hear him talk.
Scared of a germ. You know, I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. opened
All right, that's all I want to hear from that. I don't care about this. Anyway, just so you hear him talk. And this is who you have, you know, the health minister. You know, I used to snort coke off of toilet seats. I used to do that. RFK Jr. was the subject of a federal investigation in late 2024 following the resurfacing of a story about him decapitating a dead whale decades ago. The story originated from a 2012 interview with his daughter, Kathleen Kennedy in Town and Country magazine, where she recounted an event from 1994 when she was 6 years old. Decapitation after hearing a dead whale had washed up, up in Hyannisport, Massachusetts. Kennedy allegedly used a chainsaw to cut off its head. That's right. He strapped the severed head to the roof of the family's minivan with a bungee cord for a 5-hour drive to their home in New York. Whale juice. Kit Kennedy described how whale juice would pour into the car windows as they drove, forcing the family to wear plastic bags with mouth holes over their heads. In 2024, RFK Jr. admitted to a 2014 incident which he dumped a dead bear cub in New York City's Central Park and staged it to look like a bicycle accident. Discovery of the bear in 2014, a dead black bear cub was found under a bush in Central Park next to an old bicycle. The discovery sparked a decade-long mystery, as black bears are not native to Manhattan. Kennedy stated he was driving in upstate New York when when a woman in a car in front of him hit and killed a bear. He picked up the carcass, intended to skin it and harvest its meat. Ugh. The staging after a long day of falconry and a late dinner in the city, Kennedy realized he had to go to the airport. He could not take the bear with him. And he and his close friends decided to lead the bear in Central Park with an old bicycle he had in his car to make it look like the cyclist had hit it, which he thought would be amusing. Anyway, like that's all I'm gonna read from that, because this is who's in rulership of the world right now. This is who, putting up these, different cameras, tracking you everywhere you go, saying that you're the ones that need to be watched. This is for your own protection. Meanwhile, you have, your leaders. Hey, this is a small guy. This is like. Anyway, this is Job, chapter 30. And matter of fact, Job chapter 30 and verse 1, and the subheader right here is very beautiful because Job represents the elect of Israel. Job is a microcosm of the elect. Job's present state is humiliating. Why? Because he's covered in boils. His wife turned on him. He lost his children. He's lost everything, and he's scraping himself, itching, and he's scraping himself with, a pot shard. Hey, he's been humiliated. He's lost everything. It says, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision. Let's look at that. H7832 Shakak says to laugh in pleasure or detraction. To laugh, to play, to mock. Hey, guess what? We're mocked by these Edomites. We're mocked by the entire world, but specifically these Edomites. Everywhere, every direction, we're mocked by them. We're not the Israelites. We're niggers, spics, wetback spooks. You can't do nothing. They're claiming they built everything in society, in the universe ever. All this stuff. But meanwhile, it was given to them. But through their arrogance, they don't realize that. So, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision. Those fathers I would have disdained, or whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. So you wouldn't have even had these Edomites around your dogs. Why? Because, hey, just look at what I just read about RFK. Cutting off the heads of whales, throwing dead bears under bushes. Supposedly, eating pork when it said, hey, that was feces. Supposedly, and getting brainworms and parasites. But then, more overall, it is this. These Edomites say they're known for bestiality. They're known for different things like that. They're known for being absolutely nasty. Matter of fact, I was gonna read on, but that really kind of hit the point. And I'm almost out of time. This is Daniel chapter 4 and verse 17. This matter is by decree of the watchers and the demand of the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth over it the basis of men. And this who's in rulership right now. The basis of men, the lowest of the low. And I'll close out with this. Sirach 10 and verse 4, the power of the earth is in the hand of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. And in due time, he will set over it one that is profitable. So this is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai in due time. And he's raising up, the next rulers right now. And the rest of the world might not see it, but Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai sees it. And the next to rule is Israel. So, hey, Lord willing, this has been edifying. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Hey, Shalom.